landmark in the history of printing and one of the greatest illustrated books ever published. Exceptionally rare colored example of the first edition of the Nuremberg Chronicle, published in 1493 and containing over 1,800 splendid woodcuts illustrating the history of the world from the creation of man to the invention of the printing press. Liber Chronicarum, the Nuremberg Chronicle, Schedel, Hartmann, $350,000. Exceptionally rare colored example of the first edition of the Nuremberg Chronicle, the most extensively illustrated book of the 15th century. Imperial folio, bound in full 17th century pigskin over beveled wooden boards with elaborate blind tooling and scrolling to the spine and panels, brass corner pieces, 325 leaves of 328 without blank 55/6 and 61/5/6, folios 934, 25/1, 53/6, 54/5 and possibly others supplied from another copy. Quire 55 bound at end, folios 257, 2599 to 261 blank except for printed headlines. In near fine condition, quires 4 and 5 rehinged, some leaves remargined at hinge and upper or lower margin with some loss, primarily of headline, replaced in pen and ink. Section of Europe map expertly repaired in facsimile, some light browning, minor repairs. Provenance, annotated throughout in Arabic. The first edition of the Nuremberg Chronicle, printed in both Latin and German, is estimated to have had between 1,400 and 1,500 Latin copies and 700 to 1,000 German copies. Only about 400 Latin and 300 German copies are known to have survived into the 21st century. Colored copies of the first edition are exceptionally rare. Published in 1493, the monumental Nuremberg Chronicle remains the most extensively illustrated book of the 15th century. Albrecht Dürer, the printer Coburger's godson, is thought to have contributed to the celebrated series of c. 1800 woodcuts while working for the workshop of Michael Wohlgemuth. The publication history of the Nuremberg Chronicle is perhaps the best documented of any book printed in this period. The contracts between Schedel and his partners Schreyer and Kammermeister, and between Schedel and the artists, all survive in the Nuremberg Stadtbibliothek, as do detailed manuscript exemplars of both the Latin and the German editions. See A. Wilson, The Making of the Nuremberg Chronicle, Amsterdam, 1976. The Nuremberg Chronicle also includes 2 double-page maps, a world map, Shirley 19, based on Mailer's Cosmographia 1482, and a map of Northern and Central Europe by Hieronymus Munzer 1437-1508 after Nicholas Kurps. The world map is one of only 3 15th century maps showing Portuguese knowledge of the Gulf of Guinea of about 1470. The map of Europe is closely associated with Nicholas of Cusa's Eichstatt map, with which it is thought to share a common manuscript source of c. 1439 to 54. It is therefore claimed to be the first modern map of this region to appear in print. Although published later than the map of Germany in the 1482 Ulm Ptolemy, it was constructed earlier. Campbell, the earliest printed maps, 1472-1500, BMC2 437, Schreiber 5203, Goff S307, ISTC is 003070,000. Hartmann Schedel was a medical doctor, humanist, and book collector. He earned a doctorate in medicine in Padua in 1466, then settled in Nuremberg to practice medicine and collect books. According to an inventory done in 1498, Schedel's personal library contained 370 manuscripts and 670 printed books. He compiled this elaborate history of the world from the first day of creation to his own time, in an effort to correct what he felt was a slight on German history by other chroniclers. He divided his work into the usual 6 ages of the history of mankind.